Everyone, and welcome to the Monday, June 24th Maplewood City Council meeting. I always like to start with the news of the city, and just before the council meeting started, we were already looking forward and saying, a week from today, it's July, and we know what's coming after that, July 4th. And the summer is going by way, way, way too fast. And so what I wanted to do was ask our communications manager, Joe Sheeran, if he would kind of preview for everyone what is happening with our Light It Up celebration on the 4th of July, which historically, I think, now maybe I'm a little bit biased, but we have the best fireworks anywhere around here.
As City Manager Sable says, we tend to outkick our coverage on that one. We tend to punch above our belts. It is a great event, especially in the last couple of years as other communities have kind of defested from the 4th of July. We've been the beneficiary of it. It's a great event. It's obviously held on 4th of July every year, which I think is a Thursday this year. We usually get anywhere from 3 to 5 to 10,000, depending on the weather. Every year we'll start out at around 4. It'll start out around 4 o'clock at Harvest Park, which is kind of on our north end. And we bring in almost a dozen food trucks. We have bouncy houses for the kids. You could buy sort of unlimited bracelets for them to jump around in. We also have a band, I believe, that starts at 6 o'clock. It's called Schizophonic. They're sort of a top 40 cover band. And then sort of things start to wrap up around 8 o'clock. And then we have our fireworks at 10. So some people come and enjoy the festivities. Other people kind of come later and just enjoy the fireworks. But it's a great event, and I'd be remiss if I didn't thank our sponsors. Our co-host on this is the Doghouse Bar and Grill. City County Credit Union, Premier Bank, and Bolton and Mink are some key sponsors for us.
Great. So everyone come on out on July 4th if you want to have a lot of fun with your family, good food, and wonderful fireworks. Thank you for that. Council members, let's start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. City Clerk Sint, would you do the roll call for us?
Councilmember Cave.
Here.
Councilmember Juniman.
Here.
Councilmember Lee.
Present.
Councilmember Villavicencio.
Here.
Mayor Abrams.
I'm here as well. Thank you very much. Council members, would someone like to make a motion to approve our agenda?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Cave, seconded by Lee, the motion to approve the agenda. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Moving on to the June 10th, 2024 City Council Workshop meeting minutes. Would someone like to make a motion?
I move approval.
Second.
By Lee, seconded by Cave. Did I say that right? Moved by Juniman, seconded by Cave. Sorry about that. It's almost like stereo here. I can hear. Okay. Did you get that, City Clerk Sint? Moved by Juniman, seconded by Cave. The June 10th, 2024 City Council Workshop meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have our June 10th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes. Would someone like to move that?
Second.
Moved by Villavicencio, seconded by Juniman, the motion to approve the June 10th, 2024 City Council meeting minutes. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Moving on to administrative presentations, the council calendar update. City Manager Sable, that is your topic for tonight.
Thank you, Mayor and council members. So I was going to talk about 4th of July, but I think Joe does it in his TV voice and does a much better job than I could have, but that's coming up very quickly. Also wanted to start to forecast some items that are on the workshop. So on July 8th, we will have a discussion of the Ponds Golf Course housing concept discussion. We will tentatively have a cannabis update. The League of Minnesota Cities is hosting a conference in Rochester on Wednesday and Thursday, and the cannabis is one of the topics. And so we will know significantly more later this week on that item. I do want to forecast the July 22nd Purple Line update from Metropolitan Transit and some conversations they've had. And also for the community, I wanted to talk a little bit about the 2025 budget process. Now that we're at the halfway point of the year, we've really started our process. And in your emails, I've sort of outlined what is what I consider to be a fairly broad calendar for discussions for what you can expect in the months of July. So we're wrapping up our department budget meetings and conversations. By mid-July, I will preview the budget process, preview that process, and have an initial conversation with the councils. Joe Rubin, the finance team, will kind of pull together all of the formulas that come together about how insurance rate increases and wage rate increases, and so we will submit that. And then in August, we are planning on having a tentative workshop about the 2025 budget. And then some terms of high-level things, September 9th is a key date. That will be the date that the City Council will approve the preliminary levy. As you might be familiar with, the preliminary levy is that number at which the budget can be no higher, so you sort of set the upper limit. And then beginning in October, November, we'll have department discussions and presentations here at the council meetings about what that looks like in terms of service. And then the other key date was roughly in December, tentatively scheduled for December 9th, which would be adoption of the 2025 budget and levy and all of the other elements that comes with that really, really long packet item. But I wanted to give you kind of a clear sense for that there's going to be a very kind of robust budget process, and I think it's really important, particularly in my first year, that we have a good conversation about setting the direction, because a budget document is not just numbers. It's about, right, it's policy on paper. It's about story. It's about who we are as a community. And I think it's a really good time to do that. And my intent is to have it be maybe not every meeting, but certainly many meetings throughout the rest of the year, so we can start 2025 strong. So with that, I'll take questions.
Thank you very much. Any questions? Okay, seeing none, we have no council presentations tonight. Moving on to our consent agenda. Would someone like to move the consent agenda?
Motion to approve consent agenda item G1 through 7.
Second.
Moved by Lee, seconded by Juniman, the motion to approve consent agenda items G1 through 7. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. We have no public hearings tonight. We have unfinished business tonight. It is the resolution affirming denial of rental license application for property located at 1895 County Road C. And Mr. Beatty, this is your topic for us tonight.
Madam Mayor and Council, 2 weeks ago, as you know, we heard at a hearing an appeal of the decision by the city manager to deny a rental license at 1895 County Road C. The applicant was present, testified. You engaged in discussing it among yourselves, asked questions of the applicant and of staff, and at the end of that, directed staff to prepare a resolution upholding the denial for the reasons outlined in the staff report. That is the resolution that you have in front of you tonight. There is one additional item added as a reason for denial. The ordinance allows the city manager to request of an applicant that certain tenant information be provided, and the city manager's letter of May 22nd denying or upholding the staff's denial did make such a request. And in fact, he was requested to bring that material with him to the hearing 2 weeks ago. He failed to do that, and he has not done so since then. So there is a fourth item, and failure to comply with that is, under the terms of the ordinance, another grounds for denial of a license. So the resolution before you has the original 3 conditions that we discussed last time, plus the fourth one.
Councilmember Lee.
I'm not sure if this is the right time to say it, but we do this because of people, and I know last time in our conversation, there was 5 people still left at the property that are living at the property right now. Can you share with us a little bit more about what's happening to those 5 people? What is the city's action plan in helping them and working with the business owner?
Yes, council member. What we discussed last time when that came up was that we pointed out that the second piece of an application was the reasonable accommodation request that the applicant had made but was incomplete at the time. I understand from staff that that application has now been completed and staff is reviewing it. And so I think after a decision is made with regard to reasonable accommodation, staff will make a decision as to what we should do. In other words, if a reasonable accommodation is granted, of course, the status of those people there is different than if that's denied and we need to take enforcement action. So I can't tell you specifically what's going to happen, but it's still on the radar, and staff will be reviewing that when they complete their review of the reasonable accommodation.
Council members, just for a point of reference too, Mr. Beatty went over number 4. Number 5 actually, I think, accurately represents the discussion that we had during the council meeting, and that is also included as number 5 in the resolution that's before us tonight. Councilmember Cave.
Just for a quick point of clarification to the attorney. So they can get denied a rental license application, but they can get approved the second piece of the application that you mentioned. If the second one is approved, does it trump the fact that they don't get a rental license application?
Yes.
Okay.
Mr. Beatty or Ms. Parr, who's
Oh,
got
it was-
the answer for that?
Go ahead.
Thank you. The answer to that is that they're 2 separate applications, 2 separate processes, and they are handled separately and looked at separately. The first, we know because we've just handled that or have been handling it. The second, we have some limitations on us in regards to requirements we can put on that and what reasons we can use for denying it. So in that case, yes, you could have a situation, we may have a situation, if in fact a reasonable accommodation is permitted on the site where it couldn't get a rental license, but it can get a reasonable accommodation. Is that answering your question?
You know, it does, but my concern is we were worried about the 5 people living there and being uninhabitable. So if it was deemed uninhabitable, how could it still pass the second part?
So thank you, Councilmember Cave. What we are intending to do, and we have a meeting scheduled this week to talk to our additional staff from Mr. Beatty's office to talk about that exact question. Now that we have a complete application and are going through the process of reviewing everything, we now also have a situation where we understand there are specific things for health and safety that we need to address. In some cases, we don't have the ability to go in based on the regulations put on us by others, to go in and require that they have we can't require them to have a rental license, but now that we know the circumstances within the structure because of how this has played out, we intend to work with our attorneys to see how can we actually put conditions on it that require the health and safety aspects to be considered. So that's what we're looking to have a conversation about.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, council members, any other questions? Then we have a motion before us. Would someone like to make that motion?
I move the resolution affirming denial of the rental license application for the property located at 1895 County Road C.
Second.
Moved by Juniman. I heard Villavicencio second first. The motion to approve a resolution affirming the denial of a rental license application for the property at 1895 County Road C. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. We have a new business item. It is a conditional use permit resolution. Ms. Parr, you're the presenter on this for the Sejong? I'm probably saying that wrong. Am I saying it wrong? Academy?
I believe that you're close.
I'm sure we're going to I'll get the correction.
We will let them give the correction, but we're
Okay.
very close. You're very close. I don't want to missay it. Now that I have that in my head, I might missay it, so I'm
Sorry.
I'm going to
Okay.
hold off. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of the council. I will draw your attention to the overhead. As you can see, the Gethsemane Church, which I think you're probably all familiar with at 2410 Stillwater Road, is the subject site. We have an applicant coming in looking to locate a charter school in a portion of the building, and it's very defined where the portion will take place versus that of the church. They are requesting a conditional use permit. Some of you may be well aware that previously there was a school on the site, and in 2022 it ceased to be utilized at the site. When that came into being, we didn't have a requirement that meant they had to have a conditional use permit, so they were allowed to be there predating that requirement. When they went away and were not there for at least a year, then that requirement now goes along with whoever may come in and use it as a school after the fact. So that's why we're here today. They're actually not planning on doing anything different than what was there before as a traditional school, but we are here before you to make sure that we are following our own regulations. The site is public institutional. It's zoned farm residential, and it is required anywhere that they can have a school, which is with a CUP. So in this case, it's very appropriate at the site. They are not planning to make any exterior or interior modifications, any kind of construction or anything major. And you can see on the overhead there's 13 classrooms, gymnasium, a number of other traditional spaces you see with kitchen, lunchroom, that kind of thing. They're very traditional hours in regards to when the school will be taking place and how it'll be utilized in conjunction with the church. They also are going to be working collaboratively in regards to parking, with dedicated parking for limited times when the school's in session and the church has things going on and needs to have some access to parking, but they are in compliance in that regard. They're looking to bring 250 students there. We're told as early as July, maybe half of those students to start summer school. And when fall kicks off at the end of fall school kicks off at the end of August, they would have 250 students coming over from their current St. Paul location. We have had a number of our staff within the building and working with the applicant and the church, and we are very comfortable with what they are asking and how they've been moving forward with everything. We have no concerns. The one thing we have asked them to take a look at, and they've been very accommodating and working on this, is a transportation plan in regards to traffic. We don't foresee issues. Students are being bussed in, but we just like to be on the side of having a true understanding and have it in writing in regards to what will happen there in the future so we can make sure everything is good, and we anticipate it will be, and we're planning on seeing that shortly. There are 2 playgrounds that they have easy access to and some other adjacent areas as well, so we're comfortable with the space for outdoor uses. We invited 64 properties within 500 feet of the site. We did not hear back from anyone, no comments as of today. The June 18th public hearing at the Planning Commission was not well attended. We had no one to speak on it. And so in a short conversation, the Planning Commission talked a little bit about some parking in regards to the lines, and we can I think I'll actually just there was a question about whether the lines were dark enough, and those were put in last year, and we confirmed that, and you can see on the overhead, here's the accuracy of that, so we have no concerns in verifying that. With that, we recommend, as well as with the Planning Commission, the motion to approve the resolution for conditional use permit. And with that, I'm happy to take any questions. We also have 3 representatives from the church and the applicant that are here to answer any questions you might have as well.
Okay, let's start off with questions for Ms. Parr. Any questions for her? Okay, then I'm rather excited, a new charter school in town. Would someone from the charter school like to, or the 3 of you can come up to the dais, please? Please introduce yourselves.
Thank you. I'll just do introductions and then I'll step to the side. So my name is Jay Smigelski. I prepared the application on behalf of the applicant, Sejong Academy, and this is the executive director, Brad Kipko.
And Bill P. Perez with the church, council president. So, yeah, so any questions or things for me?
Is there anything that you would like to tell us?
Well, just in a nutshell, we're a charter school. We've been operating, this was our 10th year this year. We've been in 2 sites before, so finding the perfect spot has been a major challenge, as probably our biggest challenge, but we're very happy with this current site. I've been in there informally this week, just kind of getting to know people and stuff, and I think, yeah, everything seems great with the location, and this is my second Maplewood City Hall visit, so I appreciate the way the city does things and seems very professional, and so, yeah, we're excited to be in the community, and I think we'll add value to the community, another option for schooling for the kids.
Does anyone have any questions for the applicant? Councilmember Cave.
Just speaking of options and welcome, possibly to the community, how many, do you have openings? Now that you're going to put a school there, you're probably going to get a lot of interest.
We did have an interest from a family today in Maplewood, and so yeah, that'd be great, and I'm sure we will. We have openings in some of our grades. Some of the lower grades were bigger, so we had to kind of compress them to move to this location. So we have openings in pre-K, for example, 4th grade, and then most of middle and high school we
Okay.
have openings currently.
Okay.
But some of the lower school grades are full, have a waiting list.
And one more question. Does your charter school, does it specialize in anything?
Yeah, Korean language immersion is our specialty. So
Okay.
we're open to any students, whether they speak any Korean or do speak Korean. But that's our specialty, and that's full Korean immersion from kindergarten through 2nd grade. And then we offer as much Korean language as we can in the older grades, and then a lot of Korean cultural events and things like that. So,
Okay, thank you.
Councilmember Juniman.
That was my question.
Oh, okay. Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, Mayor. I was hoping to sign up for myself so I could understand the K-dramas I've been watching.
we're hoping to do adult language classes at some point. We haven't done that yet, but we would love to do that at some point.
Well, welcome to the community. I live just down the street, and as I shared with you all, I'm super excited to have you guys there and to be there. And it was sad to see the school close this last year. My question to you is, what is your max capacity? At full capacity, what would that be for the school site and what you guys can handle?
That's approximately 340, I think.
Okay.
But that would be, again, our lower school is already at max, and actually, we cannot unenroll students. We have to invite all the students, so we have 2 teachers for some of the classes right now, but we may reduce the class sizes going forward as students kind of graduate out. So yeah, about 330 would be probably the max if all the grades have 24 to 26 is our max, based depending on the grade level.
Awesome. One question, Mayor, one more.
Sure.
And just one more question. Can you share with us how many staff you have with your school?
60 staff, full and part-time, mostly full-time, but a few part-time staff as well.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmembers, we have a motion before us. Would someone like to make it?
Motion to approve a resolution for a conditional use permit for Sejong Academy to operate a school located at 2410 Stillwater Road East.
Second.
Seconded by Cave, the motion to approve a resolution for a conditional use permit for Sejong Academy to operate a school located at 2410 Stillwater Road East. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Welcome to Maplewood.
Okay, well,
We
thank
are
you very
thrilled
much
that
for
you're
everything.
here.
Yes.
You bet. Council members, we are concluded with our agenda tonight, and so therefore we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.